Welcome to the Leadership Expose podcast. This podcast is for purpose-driven leaders at diverse levels and organizations around the world who are seeking to scale and transform their leadership, to level up their business, and to create an impact in the lives of people all around them. Business and boardroom topics, trends, innovation, transformation, and the intersection with leadership is the focus. We enable success. I'm your host, Stephen Paul. In this episode, I'm delighted to host a progressive-minded leader with a variety of experiences in several careers, including technology outsourcing, mobility and strategy consulting, program delivery, retail, and restaurant management, amongst other domains. We welcome Kim Gandhi, the Chief Operating Officer at Food, Fire Plus Knives, and she holds several other roles at multiple firms. We'll hear about how she continues to transform non-digital companies to embrace digital experiences and bring new food experiences via unique platform, and how she's creating innovation amongst several other endeavors that she's undertaking. Kim, welcome. How are you doing today?
Doing great. It's really, really great that you guys invited me to do this. I'm excited.
Excellent. Kim, just before we started the podcast, we were exchanging where we're based, but for our benefit of the audience, tell us where you're based currently.
So currently, I work remotely. So we are a national firm, but I actually live right outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Awesome. I've never been to Minnesota, but I've been to the US many times, different other cities. Well, as I mentioned, I'm here in London, in the UK. How's the weather like there at the moment?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's in the 70s, very, very temperate, and you can get some really great walks in. We have tons of lakes around here. So every afternoon after we get done with work, we just go out and take a walk around the lake and enjoy.
Yeah, wonderful. We've had a unique weather here in the UK for the last couple of months. We've had our version of a heat wave, and that's reached about 30, 31 degrees Celsius, and that's hot for me, but yeah.
Very hot. It's not. We were actually down in Jacksonville, Florida, and Savannah a couple of weeks ago, and very, very warm there. So totally understand. I like the north. It stays a little bit cooler up here.
Yeah, wonderful. Kim, I'm really keen to hear about your personal journey, the intersect with your professional journey. So tell us a little bit briefly about that, and then we'll delve into some of the more specific details later on.
Yeah, I think, when I started out, and we're going back, 30, 40 years now, we got to the point where I wasn't sure what my career was going to be. I started out in retail and decided that if I was going to love holidays, I had to get out because it was always working every single holiday. And I kind of one day, I was looking for a job and fell into IT. Just absolutely fell into it. And somebody came up to me and said, "Well, can you manage a project?" And I thought, well, geez, I've been managing projects unprofessionally most of my life with my kids and everything else. Of course I can. And so was really lucky that I had someone say, "You know what, I think you can do this," and jumped into the IT world in probably when I was about 27, 28, jumped in at that point and never looked back. And I've been so lucky. I've been with some of the biggest companies in the world, and every single piece of the journey that I've gone to, it's just made me learn just a little bit more and seeing how adaptable you can be when you want to be.
Amazing. So, Kim, what is your focus at the moment? I recognize that you've got quite a few things on the go here. What's your focus at the moment?
Yeah, so we're in a startup right now. It's called Food, Fire Plus Knives. It is an online platform that basically advertises for private chefs. So you can have a private chef. You book online. You can see what their menus are. You can see their availability. And when you go to book them, they come to your house, bring all the ingredients. They cook, they clean, and then they leave. So it's one of those. We've really worked hard on the website to make it very easy for people to use. But we did it more with the intent that chefs are really having a hard time working really long hours in the restaurants, and they don't necessarily get to see the people enjoying what they enjoy doing, and so changing up and being able to be in front of people, watching them eat the foods they've created, the dishes that they've created, it kind of changes the whole game for chefs. And
Yeah.
so we're watching a transformation in the industry as more and more people are finding, you know what, for special occasions, it's actually kind of nice to have a chef come in the house and take care of things, and then I don't have to clean up the kitchen afterward. But I get phenomenal food, and usually the chefs have quite a few stories about their whole journey as well. So
Yeah.
ends up being a really nice exchange, kind of a dinner and a show.
Yeah, it's as you were just describing, and I have taken a look at your website. It's amazing. So I'm just thinking here, it's the experience of the chef as you describe, because we go to restaurants and yes, we have great food, and if you're good enough, you'd actually compliment the chef. You'd ask them, or they would come and meet you. But this is the other way around, where even the chef's experience and they have their journeys that they can actually share with you as well in a personalized
Exactly.
setting, right?
Hmm.
So so I'm just thinking about certain scenarios here. So if I'm looking to, let's say, treat my wife to a great dinner, would this type of a model work where I could leverage this platform that you have created and bring in this whole experience directly to my home?
So in the U.S.,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes. Yeah, of course.
we're not quite international yet, but there are companies actually in the UK. What I think is really really fun about this whole experience is we're watching other companies in other parts of the world also embrace this model. And so watching chefs around the world being able to actually showcase just their amazing dishes as well as just their personalities. You are seeing that, and I believe there's actually a couple companies, really good companies out in the UK if you ever decide to do it. But we go all the way down to 2 people,
Yeah.
and we actually have done over 100 people, depending on like a micro wedding or something like that. So big on bachelorette parties, we do quite a few of those. But then date night, with your loved one or with your family, really enjoyable.
Yeah, I was just going to mention about the other wider commercial aspects here. So you just mentioned about the weddings, and if for example I was hosting or people are hosting for their company, for example, 100 people, 50 people, whatever it is, this is a great opportunity to bring a personalized approach, not only for the invitee, but also for the people who are coming into into the home to serve as well.
Well, and one of the things, and this wasn't in the initial, in our initial discussions, we had brainstormed all sorts of different scenarios of people, coming and the chefs coming over. What we didn't expect through the pandemic, uh, we actually saw even corporations start to change. We have bookings that come in, reservations that come in for corporate entities. They rent, a house or a space for 3 4 days for leadership or for a small sales meeting. They'll
Yeah.
bring 10 15 people in, and then they bring a private chef over because they don't want to have to go reserve for 15 20 people at a big restaurant. If they can do it at a big rental place, an Airbnb or VRBO, they're able to do that. And we're seeing more and more of those type of reservations coming in as well.
Yeah. So Kim, I'm curious, what was that pivotal moment for you where you started this particular aspect?
So it was,
What
yeah,
actually
it was an
prompted you? Yeah.
well, and so I was super. I work for I work for IBM. I work for Salesforce, and then I was a consultant for a while. And then I had a great opportunity to go work at Cargill. And Cargill, huge, huge aspect around food, feeding the world. Just the whole mission of the company is just incredible. And so being around people that, all their thoughts every single day were how to, continue to make supply chain, food chain for all different sort of, basic grain, whether it's from grains all the way up to, chocolate, etc. So I was in that range, but I was in IT and taking care of the Salesforce ecosystem that they had there. And a friend of mine actually introduced me to the concept, this food, fire, and knife concept. And it took me a few months. And they said, we really think you should jump in. And we realize these are startups, but you because of your IT background and because you understand the pieces of supply chain and food and that piece of it, we would love to see you come on board. It took me 6 months because going from big Cargill, biggest private company in the world, to itty bitty tiny entrepreneurial company, it was just a leap of faith. And I jumped in, and the ride has been so much fun because I get to combine the technical side of my background, but I grew up loving food, and I'd always said when I turn 65, I'm going to become a chef. So I never intended to jump into this sort of company, but now I'm here and I work every day with just phenomenal, senior executive chefs, people that really have honed their craft and they're so proud of what they do. It's so much fun to work with them.
Yeah. And Kim, are you able to, share any other stories that come to your mind as, within your current leadership capacity or even previously, where it's actually resulted in a big or significant positive outcome?
Yeah, the pandemic, really took a toll on a company like Food Fire Plus Knives. When it went into lockdown, everything shut down, and so last year, we were just slowly building back, and by the end of last year, we were in 9 cities, which is really small, tiny. We woke up, the beginning of the year and said, you know what, it's time to take off. And we've now recruited and also had chefs approach us to join in over 40 cities now. So we've expanded very quickly. We have basically really looked at bringing in the right chef. We have a 5-star rating. Don't want to break that. So the chefs that we bring on, we want them to be as proud of that as we are. And so that really, it drives different conversations in the interviews and talking with those different chefs. And I think the background that I had in hiring, whether it was in IT, I worked in Salesforce I was, really big in the practice of Salesforce for 7-8 years. I worked at Salesforce for 3, and then also, was in the business for another 4. And the experiences of leadership, the experiences of building out teams, and that cohesiveness that comes along, building that community that all had a mission going forward, all of those experiences come to bear with what I'm doing now. And all of our chefs are 1099, so they're not employees, they're contractors. But we've built a community and they rely on each other. And that whole sense of being part of something that's just exploding, that makes me wake up every day without an alarm clock.
That's amazing. So most of your business is through the digital platform, or do you have, okay,
Yes.
so it's digital platform. Okay. So from the lens of the chef, for example, how, if they wanted to leverage, your company, how would some of those conversations happen? Do you just look at some of the work that they've done previously, the cuisine, their expertise, or how exactly does that go about?
Well, so we really look at sous, sous chefs are about the lowest level that come onto the platform, but we really look for executive or even chefs that have managerial experience. So they're used to running, big operations. Conversations with them, we have video interviews, and as we go through the interviews, it's one of those you want to see the personality come out. People when you invite someone into your home that you've never met before, what's the personality going to be through their bio, and being able to take a look and seeing pictures of their food. The pictures that you see on the website, those aren't curated. Those are what our chefs are actually doing. And so sometimes our pictures aren't always all professional. In fact, many of them aren't. They're from, they've gone to a house, they've cooked food, and they've taken some pictures of what they've made. Our videos, we started doing some of the videos and putting them out on TikTok and some other places. Some of the poorest videos we weren't all that thrilled with have taken off.
Yeah.
We're like, why? We would think it would be a little more professional, but finding the right chef, if a chef can't articulate, even, one of my questions that I ask them when I'm interviewing them is, what is your most memorable kitchen disaster?
Mm.
And, you look back on it now and you can laugh at it, but at the time it was the worst thing on earth, but you made it through. Tell me how you did that. And they take a pause almost to a T. They always take a pause because no one asks them that question. It's not usually it's, oh, what about your food, or what about this?
Yeah.
But it's that adversity. If you go into someone's house and the power goes out, or you go into someone's house and something isn't working that you thought was going to work, you still have to produce, a 5-star meal. How do you do that?
Yeah.
So knowing that they can actually bounce on their feet and they'll respond to these questions. And I wish I would write a book, because some of them are really funny. You just sit back and you just have to laugh with them. But they also have that sense of humor that, after a period of time they look back on it and they just are like, how did I do that? And they have a good laugh about it. Those are the chefs that are the most successful on the platform, because they take that humbleness and knowing that things can happen, but you can bounce back and you can figure out a way to still deliver on your promises.
Yeah, amazing. And Kim, you touched on the pandemic, and in your view, how are you navigating through all of that now? Do you feel that things have improved a lot better?
Yeah, I think that you hear a lot about the restaurant industry and the struggles that they're having with finding staff and all of that. To be quite honest, I think we're in a disruption for the whole industry,
Mm.
and part of that really is because what we're doing, the online presence of being able to go find a personal chef. People aren't having as great of experiences in the restaurants. They are tired of having food just delivered, and it might be, warm. It might not be, the same crispness or everything else. To be able to have something fresh made, getting that same, flavor and everything that you wanted in a great meal, but having it in your home. We as humans have changed. We are starting to enjoy having those type of experiences. So I think for the private chef industry in general, we're just seeing a lot of growth now.
Yeah, amazing. And a little bit about yourself, Kim. So, you're an entrepreneurial leader in your own right. Are there people that you look upon, or you follow, that inspire you to do the things that you do?
Yeah, it's so funny because I had a manager right after I got into IT. I was hired to do this project, and I went around and I said, okay, I'm going to meet all of the executives because I want to hear what the problems are from their perspective. And I set up meetings, and my boss came to me, what are you doing? You're setting up all these meetings with the executives. Why are you doing that? And I explained. And I said, should I cancel? And she said, no, 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 just go and do this. But I was kind of surprised that you did it. One of the leaders, he's a VP, and he sat me down. He goes, I wasn't sure why I should take this meeting, but I decided to. And he gave me just a piece of advice. He said, just keep breaking glass. Do it politely, do it professionally, but don't turn back. Make the change. And it was a really great conversation that actually gave me the confidence I needed to go into uncomfortable situations and look for what's the problem to be solved. Is the ways of working going to change in order to improve the situation?
Yeah.
And if you can always look at that problem and continue to troubleshoot it, and then have the faith that people are going to look at that and say, you know what, she's doing it for all the right reasons. I wasn't always politically correct. I wasn't, and I was very direct especially in my youth, I was very direct and this has to get fixed now.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten gentler over the years, but that first time of having somebody tell me, don't feel like, don't go back into being a flower and just sitting on the wall and just waiting for something to happen. Go help make it happen.
Excellent. And are there any important topics or trends on your mind these days that you feel impact not only the industry that you're in at the moment, but just generally across the board?
Yeah, I think that social media is it's going through its own evolution and trying to really understand how all of us, anyone that's got a product or a service out there that we want to offer, watching what's happening, whether it's with Meta or with Instagram and the whole phenomenon of TikTok and trying to figure out, how do you advertise to the constituents and the people that you want to use your services. I think that it's not just the little entrepreneurs that are struggling with that; it's the big companies as well. I think video. And I think this is still back with what happened with the pandemic. Even this conversation, we would. I've done podcasts before, but I think doing video and having that interaction, having the personality come through. If it's just a phone call or you're in person, you're not used to doing videos. I think that so many people through the pandemic have to learn how to be video savvy. That's what happened with the evolution, whether it's Reels or TikTok or any of the mediums that are coming about with ads. It's no longer all about putting ads on TV or in print. It's that humanness that's coming through, and also it's the everyone had wanted everything, total pretty picture. You've got all the actors, you've got all of the perfect food or perfect product. It's all placed exactly right. People are learning that it's okay to be a little rough around the edges, and that rough around the edges at times actually helps sell your product better. And so watching that whole trend and trying to figure out how do we, Food Fire Plus Nights fit in, but also some of the other companies that I work with on consulting, how do we fit into those molds and market in a whole new way in the new platform? And there's not a ton of leaders out there that can come in and say, we're doing it the best. We've got TikTok nailed down and we're just rocking it. I think everyone right now is sitting there going, well, how does this work? The younger generation gets it. I'm not sure all of us do.
There is an element of adoption and adaptation to what's actually changing. You described social media, so I completely agree with you. In terms of how you're actually positioning yourself as well. So let's talk about you a little bit more. What does the day in the life of Kim look like, morning to evening?
Yeah, well, I from morning till evening. So we're empty nesters. We just had our final child just graduated from high school, and now he's in college, so he's off and about. So it's my husband and I and our dog, and we get up and I think, from the beginning of the day until, I mean, we put in long days right now with being in a startup. So throughout the day, sometimes we're working a customer service item, sometimes we're working on, the strategy of where we're taking our marketing team and how we're going about that. We typically spend, a bit of time looking at the website. It's interesting. Um, the perspective that we have, we spend a lot of time asking our chefs, what else would you like? It's a chef forward website. However, if you come in from the consumer side of it,
Mhm.
it's easy to use. We did so many things in the back end though, because what we wanted the chefs to do was be able to do what they love to do, not the administration, but actually go out and have that experience, the chef experience in people's houses and cooking. Um, so how, we look at the website quite often to say, what else can we be doing? And then laying out a strategy and where we're going to go from there. We've
Yeah.
got a pretty good strategy for where we're rolling out. And I probably spend, 2 to 3 hours talking with chefs, interviewing new chefs to come on and then onboarding them. And then the rest of the day, it's making sure that we're putting together blogs, making sure that we're communicating. I do my own personal part of being on LinkedIn, and some of the other platforms just so that I stay relevant. I do try, at least an hour. I think it probably at least an hour a day. I'm doing my own research. What's the latest things going on? I really try to stay on top of my technical background. I
Mm.
worked really, really hard to, understand and be able, I wouldn't put myself into writing code anymore, but I certainly can understand enough about it that I can help guide and put strategy together to do those digital transformations.
Yeah. Amazing. What's the next big business or personal adventure for you, or are you already in it?
Well, I think, so this right now, I think I'm in it for, the professional side. I think that the personal side, my husband and I, we were just talking this morning. Um, we, we spent almost a month out on the road after, and we just got back on Sunday. Uh, this, the lifestyle that we're leading now, being able, I spent time with chefs in 4 different cities. So I got to sit down and talk with them, have a meal with them, find out a little more about them in person. That's always good as well. And we found, what do humans really need to minimally get along in life? You really need the big huge mansion. We were at times we were in a 1 bedroom,
Mhm.
little Airbnb with our dog, and a couple of times we were in a hotel room, and you know what, it was fun, it was nice to get around. I think we'll do more of that. I
Yeah.
want to get out. I'd like to get to the other many of the other cities and continue to experience just what those cities have to offer. And the role that I play and the work that we do, both of us have companies that we can do our job from anywhere, really anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Kim, we're coming to a close very shortly. Is there any closing messages or a challenge to other leaders or to even to chefs as well on any topics, lessons, business or personal that you want to share here?
Yeah, I mean, I think for for the younger generation and also for people that really they don't know where they're going to go with their careers.
Mm.
Um, you know, I, it, I've always been a huge advocate for I'm a woman, so of course a huge advocate with women being in leadership roles and executive roles, and it's so important for them to make sure that they take a seat at the table. I know it's a well-worn phrase,
Yeah.
but if you don't go and sit at the table and stand up and be heard, it's a tough road, and you can be very frustrated and want to walk away. I think there's so much opportunity out there. There's growth in so many different industries for all, whether it's women, whether it's different races, LGBT. I think, you know, those of us that are at the ages we're at, it's up to us to start mentoring, start giving back, start being, the servant leadership side of things. And so I always have at least two or three mentees that I'm working with, and watching them take off with their careers, and always looking for where's that next person that just needs that little boost, just needs that little push to say, yes, you can do this.
Yeah.
And I think I would challenge every single leader that's part of this, go find those people. They may be right in front of you, but if you're not actively looking for them, you're waiting for them to come to you. Think of how many opportunities you might have missed watching somebody just catapult into a career that they really, really love.
Yeah, absolutely. Inspiring words and a challenge from Kim. Thank you very much, Kim, for being with us today and sharing your journey, but also the great things that you're doing and building that great ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the time.
Wonderful. Okay, folks, thank you very much for listening in, and stay tuned for our next episode with a corporate leader who said enough is enough and went on to build a unique infrastructure to support personal growth in an emerging market for people in that country. Stay tuned and stay on for additional information following this episode. Hey, I hope you enjoy the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You're now seeing this part of the video also because you consume some of my content, insights, and teachings. Maybe you've been to my LinkedIn page or website or seen other social media ads or listened to my podcast. I'm Stephen Paul, a business and transformational executive coach, strategic advisor, leader, and board member. I've been in diverse roles, corporate executive, entrepreneur, and worked with businesses and firms of all sizes, built and launched businesses, created high-impact boards, and so forth in 4 continents. I get it. I've been there, done that, but what is different is I bring a unique perspective and a playbook. I've helped 100+ business leaders just like you to scale and align their leadership top teams, the board, and overall business for growth. Leaders like Ivana from medium-sized company in the EU who grew 150% and expanded globally in under 5 months. After she started to work with me over facilitated sessions in an initial 3 days, I helped fine-tune their strategy and align their leadership team and board to be a cohesive driving force to achieve their dreams and outcomes. I want to teach you the same thing and more on how to scale and align your leadership team and board so you can increase your business growth and value. Get clarity on what is the next right strategy for you. There are multiple ways we can work with you. Number 1, click the link for a free, non-obligatory 60-minute initial strategic session. Let's get a feel for your dreams, your vision, your challenges, and let me convert that into a route map for you where we can co-develop and co-pilot. Number 2, enroll in an innovative and intuitive digital online course that I have created to help you transform. It's called Unshakable Resilience. It is the ultimate program for individuals and business leaders like you who want to be equipped at a personal and professional level to respond to any form of challenges or in crisis situations and take on opportunities with grit, resilience, and build a mindset of success. In essence, you want to be unshakable, thrive in crisis, take on opportunities in the face of adversity, and build a success mindset. So, click the link below to learn more on how I can personally help you individually and your firm to scale and align your leadership team and business and pivot in a transformational way. And for you to experience this, whatever the challenge you're facing, get in touch with me. Let's discuss, and I will share my insight rapidly to enable your transformation. Click the links below.